Welcome back, everybody, to the Johnny Drinks podcast. I'm your co-host, Johnny.
And this is John.
And we're also here with another John Barone.
John.
Hey,
How
about
are you,
that?
Johnny?
Let's do a name check real quick. John, is John here?
Check.
John?
Check.
John.
Check.
Perfect.
We're all here
check.
ready to go. So John Barone here has been a real estate agent at Coldwell Bank for 3.5 years now.
Coldwell Banker, I've been here for about 2.5.
2.5. And where were you prior?
I was with Century 21.
Mm-hmm. Got it.
Yeah.
So today I wanted to treat this as a very high level real estate for dummies conversation, right? For somebody like me, I'm not a real estate agent.
You're
but
not?
Let's say, no, I'm not. Shockingly, I know.
Man.
But let's say hypothetically, I wanted to become a real estate agent, right? I want to walk through step by step. What does your day one look like? What are the challenges you're going to face? What do you need to prepare for? And who better to ask than somebody that's kind of been through that and is still going through those growing pains of being in the first couple of years.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks,
And then on the other end,
Yeah.
Over here, John Sr., I guess we'll go Johnny B, Johnny Jr., and Johnny Sr. over here.
Yep.
Been in the mortgage space for 30 some odd years. So again, he's seen the best of the best and he's seen the worst of the worst. So he can kind of, I guess, vouch for whatever Johnny's saying and have his own little input.
Sure. Love to.
Sure.
All right. So John, walk us through, I guess, first off, the reason why you wanted to get into the real estate game.
Always loved real estate since I was younger. I purchased my first place when I was 23, made some investment decisions, did some flips, and I was always paying that commission. So I figured, why not take the test or the course? So I took the course in 2018, went 2 straight weeks. It's a 75-hour course. At the end of the course, you have to pass the exam. Once you pass the exam, you could take the state test.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, so being interested in real estate got you into real estate.
Absolutely.
Huh, go figure.
Absolutely.
It's a match made
Yep.
Match
in
made.
real estate.
How was that test?
It was difficult.
Really?
Yeah, it was difficult. It was a few hours, multiple choice, math questions. It was just a mishmash of questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you
It was
go about
difficult.
preparing for that test? Was there like a class you took?
Yeah, it was a 75-hour course. I took it for 2 straight weeks. And it was, I actually had the best instructor I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So in the
Roma Loof.
Roma Loof.
Roma Loof from Star Points.
Shout out.
Yep.
Look at that.
Shout out.
Shout out to Ro.
Okay.
The best.
Cool. So, okay. At the time that you're taking these tests, are you already doing research on, I would assume that you're now looking at the market.
Well, yeah, it was, because I purchased a few homes prior, I kind of had some experience and knowledge and what the terms meant. So I kind of had a head start.
Mm-hmm. But
Yeah.
then so when you did finally get your license, you were kind of hitting the ground running.
No,
No.
not at all. It is so difficult to learn the industry. It's just like anything else. You go to school for it, you pass, and then what's next?
Yeah.
Training, right?
Mm.
So some brokers offer different types of training. Some offer mentorship, some offer class, but what worked best for me was learning from someone and getting that firsthand
That real
knowledge.
field,
the real
boots
field.
on the ground trading.
Who was
Absolutely.
that? Who was that person for you?
It's probably not important. He
It's not
mentioned.
important.
Not important. Never mind. Who cares? Never mind.
Definitely not important. Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, so you're learning under this certain somebody. What does that learning look like? Are they taking you out with them?
You
or-
shadow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You shadow the person. You go on listing appointments. I spent a lot of time with people, not just one person in general, but a few people who were willing to teach me the industry.
Got it.
And
Yeah,
that's the most difficult part because people don't like competition,
Mhm.
right? So people are fearful of that. So when especially if you have a presence in your town, in your area, people know who you are. I was born and raised in a small little town in Jersey, and I have a pretty good presence there. I was born and raised there basically, And people don't want to help you because of that, because they're afraid of losing the business.
Sure. Well, that's always been my, again, outside perspective. My question, I guess, both of your industries, hypothetically, if it's regional, right, and I'm going to your bank or whatever it may be, who then like if I walk in, who takes me?
So you mean when you're at the broker?
Because like you said, it's very competitive.
Who hires you?
No. If I want to buy a house and I want to work with somebody, and I don't really know who I'm working with.
So it's all based upon relationships. And you could ask Johnny here. It's a relationship driven business. People want to work with somebody who they know, who they can trust, who has the experience and knowledge, and can help them purchase or sell their home. It's a big trust concern.
Right. There's nothing greater to speak to relationship building than in the real estate business, because that's what separates the average people in a group. When you're really good at being part of your community and you're really good about being sincere and giving back and wanting to help, it comes from, it's very interesting because having known a lot of realtors, that umbrella of realtor is so big and wide.
So many of us.
So many. But there's so
Dime a
few.
dozen.
There's so few that get it right.
Yep.
And getting it right means you all sign up for the same reasons probably that, it's easy to relate to. Oh, it's a good way to make money. Oh, I could do it maybe part-time and then maybe full-time one day when I retire from my full-time. I've heard the narrative over and over again. But there's very few that truly want to learn it and stay educated and be a consummate professional throughout it. That's a very
It's a passion.
It's a very thin.
It's a passion group. And a desire to win.
Yeah.
It's a strong desire to win.
And to his point earlier, there's a lot of people that will help you along the way. Yet then all of a sudden that same group of people can be your competition because they're trying to sell the same house.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not designed that way, but it's meant to interact that way.
Yep.
Right.
So that's where the mindset of the John Barone group came from, because it's about teaching others and mentoring others and being pretty much a team.
Right.
So now instead of one person, you have multiple people who are underneath one umbrella that can assist with showings, with listing appointments, with helping out with home inspections and appraisals. There's a lot involved with selling a home, and you need help.
Right. So let's break that down a little bit.
Especially when you get busy.
Yeah.
So let's break that down a little bit, because yes, this is a very demanding industry. Yeah. It requires, like John just pointed out, time. And sometimes you need to split yourself as a person because on any given weekend, as an individual realtor, you could be pulled 10 different ways. Well, but there's only one of you. So where do you go? If you have 2 or 3 clients all seriously interested in buying a home, how do you manage that, right? That's one of the bigger challenges. But I want to rewind back, 3.5 years ago, before you studied for the test, let alone taking the test. And, you had another career. Okay, fine, that's done. And at what point did you make that decision that I'm going to do this? This is my lane. And then reflect back on that, John, those starting days, because people that are listening that don't have anything today, that might want to go into real estate today.
Sure.
What does that feel like? Bring us back.
So I never actually knew what the qualifications were, what the requirements were to take the course. When I found out, it was just a 75-hour course with a test at the end, and then you take the state test. You have to be 18 years old, high school education or higher. It was pretty much, much a given that I was going to take the exam in the pre-course. So once I took that, I passed, and it was just boots on the ground. You wanted to learn, you wanted to absorb everything. But like I said, at the time, when I first got my license, I was living down the shore. So I didn't really have a big presence there. That's not where I was born and raised. So once I moved back to North Jersey, that was a different story.
Right. And that's
You know,
very important.
I built relationships, all those relationships that I've built, and, you know, all my friends that I've made and family and acquaintances for over, you know, 30 years of my life.
So that's very important. So
Your sphere
of influence. Once you get your license now, you can say, okay, I can sell real estate.
Yep.
You have to be strategic on where you're going to put your stake in the ground.
Yep.
Where do you want to be? In your
home
case,
base.
down the shore or back up north. So you decided you need to come back up north.
Home base.
That's where you're okay.
Yep.
And then you have some alignment, some other people that want to help mentor you and,
Sure.
and walk you through the ropes of that. That's all good. All right. So now that's pretty much, would you say, the first 6 months of a realtor or year of being a realtor?
Some people never make it, right? Some people get their license. I forget what the percentage is. I think it's 5% of agents really push it full time. It's a very small percentage because they just don't. It's a commission-based industry.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not selling a house, if you're not listing a house, you're not getting paid. There's no salary, right? So.
Not to mention the money you have to invest to get your
That's
name
another
out there.
thing. Yeah. So people are also afraid to spend money.
Mm.
So when I first started, I was the store dividers in the shop, right? You know, those little dividers in the aisle. I bought those. I was in the shop, right? Started magazines, postcards. All this costs money. So it's a big investment. It costs a heavy dime. It's not cheap.
Do you notice a return on that sort of stuff? Like anybody come up and be like, "Oh, I saw you will,
you will, yes, constantly,
really,
constantly." People texting me pictures of my store dividers. I had a commercial. I was getting messages at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. I just saw you on TV.
Oh, that's awesome.
I send out magazines. I do a lot of stuff. I'm on Zillow.
If you could name,
I market a lot. Yeah.
If you could name one marketing tactic that you have seen has been your best, do you have one?
Different markets will give a different answer.
True.
Different times will right?
True. Yeah.
Okay.
So prior to COVID, it was Zillow really helped out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Zillow really helped out a lot. It's not cheap, but it did help. During COVID, it was all relationship based. Facebook, Instagram. Once you get your name out there and start selling, you start to get a name for yourself, and you start to post things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like anything else. You want to stay in front of everybody. It's eyeballs.
Yeah.
But so let's quantify this again for those people who are listening and want to maybe get into the real estate industry. That first 6 months, you're shadowing, you're aligning, you're teaming up with another group. Let's say
if somebody wants to help you,
right? And if they don't, you're all on your own.
You're all on your own,
right? So for the most part, you just have to be ready to say, "I'm doing this and I'm doing it on my own." Okay, how much money do you think you have to be prepared to invest that first year? Because we're not going to do it just for a couple months.
Yeah.
So for the first year, what do you, if you had to throw a
$10,000.
$10,000. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So you passed the test. Now you're a realtor licensed, and you need to be prepared with that amount of money to invest in yourself before you even see perhaps one sale. And now when you get that one sale, to help everyone understand the math, it may take you 30 days, 90 days, 120 days before you even sniff an opportunity to sell
sometimes longer.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
When that happens and you sell something now and it has to close. So it's one thing to sell it.
Yep.
Another thing to wait to everything checks the boxes. They get their mortgage, their home inspection goes well. There's no material hazards and anything in all that stuff. How much of a commission in our area can you make from selling one house? Now, I'm not talking about both sides of a transaction.
Yeah,
just
so typically
you sold the house.
So typically it's 2.5% to 2%.
Mm-hmm.
That's the going rate.
On each end.
on each end. So yeah, it's five. The going rate is 5%, right? So 5%. If you have both ends, it's a total of 5. If you only bring the buyer, it's 2.5%. But then you have to pay your broker out,
Yep.
which is a certain split that's negotiated
Mhm.
upon in signing your agreement, and then
So let's do some math.
yeah.
Let's do some math.
Yeah.
You sell in our area, an average home is, what do you think the average price point of a home in northern New Jersey?
500,000.
Okay,
Just
so
rough
500,000.
Yep.
And if you had just picked up that one side, and you don't have to tell me, you don't have to tell me what your personal split is, right?
I can't do that.
No, of course not. But you need to, let's say it's a $500,000 house, and you are the realtor who sold the house. You didn't list it and sell it, so you're not going to get 5%. You're going to get gross dollars now. Here is 2.5. That's 12,500.
Yep.
Right now, you have to pay the broker who pays for the lights to be on in a building, whether it's ABC Real Estate, Century 21, Coldwell Banker, whatever. That's why there's a split, because you don't own that home base. You don't own that franchise, that name. Someone else does.
Yeah.
That's called a broker who has the interest, who pays franchise fees and all these other, it's another business model. So now, what's a typical split on our example of?
A majority of the splits when you start off are 70-30, right?
Okay.
You take 70?
Yeah. The house gets 30.
Jeez.
So, yeah.
For doing nothing?
Well, they're not
doing nothing.
They're paying rent. There's
Utilities.
insurance, utilities. There's carrying costs.
There's franchise fees. You got to
There's
pay for that
franchise
tag.
No. The franchise fees are different. So,
Okay.
so for example, you start off at 70-30. You take 70, the house gets 30. Some companies, at the end of the transaction, once you close, they take another franchise fee off of that 70%.
Jeez.
Wow.
So you're actually not taking home 70%.
Okay.
Oh my God.
So some are 4%, some are 6%. So in actuality, it could be somewhere near the mid, 64, 65%.
So let's just continue.
Yeah.
70% is $87.50
Yep.
on the 12.5.
Yep.
Now he just said that's his 70% cut. If this is an average example, right? So as the realtor just made their first closed transaction, you now have $87.50. Now there's another franchise hit.
Yep.
That could come into play, or does come into play, and that's another 6 or 7%.
5-6%.
Well, let's say it's 5%. So now you're netted down to $8,300
Yeah.
for that one real estate that you sold. That's at $500,000.
And then you have to pay
side
tax on it.
Of course, that's gross dollars.
Yeah.
This is where, again, as a realtor, you are what we call a 1099 employee.
Independent contractor.
You're an independent contractor.
Yep.
You're going to then take that at the end of the year, all your sales, and you're going to file tax returns based on that. And you'll have expenses like advertising and things like John just alluded to.
That's what I stress to the agents as well. A lot of people are so afraid to spend that money because they're not selling as much as they want to.
Of course.
So if they're making 3-4 sales a year, but they have to spend $10,000 to help push their business, people see 10 grand and they're just like, that's 1 or 2 transactions for me. You know, that's half the year's work.
Mm-hmm.
So a North Jersey real estate agent has to sell about a house a year, or house a month to make 100 grand a year. At $8,300.
Oh yeah, sure.
No. Look. It all depends. Your bread and butter is going to be about the $300,000 to $650,000 range
In this area, yeah.
right? That's once you start to get listings and buyers in the 700 million plus range, the more the house is, the more you make. But you're never going to turn down or try and help out a buyer who's looking for a home for $300,000.
Right.
They're still a client. They still have wants and needs, and you're going to help them out because eventually they're going to refer you out and they're going to use you again.
Exactly.
right?
Well, you serve the purpose of the people, not the transaction.
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
So you got your real estate license. How long was it until you had your first closing?
It was probably about 6 months.
Wow.
6 months to 8 months. My friend Javier Hernandez, police officer in Lodi, bought an investment property in Seaside Heights.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it took you
I
almost
helped him.
8 months.
Yeah. It took a while. It takes a while, it's not because people want to really trust the person that it's a big purchase. You're not buying a loaf of bread here. You're buying a huge, huge purchase. So
Right.
I mean, we're not buying bicycles and bread.
no,
Put it in real estate.
you're not. Yeah.
Okay, so let's fast forward now. Like you said, it's been now 3.5 years since you got your license. You just said you were the top agent at Caldwell.
Yeah. For the past four months.
Wow.
Yeah. So
And what are they ranking you off of?
they rank you off of volume and units.
So both. So number of houses and then dollars
Sure.
of houses.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
I don't know the exact calculation that Caldwell uses, but yeah, it's been.
And what do you think is the reason that you went from, that you got to where you are today?
I love what I do. I truly do. I love what I do. I have a strong desire to win. I love the industry too. It's very it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. But at the end of the day, when you see your client close at the table and they purchase the home or they're happy, the final sale price that they got on the listing.
Yeah, it's gratifying. There's
it's a
something
good feeling.
to be said. Listen, there's
really
three things everyone should get to experience in their lifetime: owning a home, maybe getting married, and having children. Those three things are milestones. Now, that may or may not fit into someone else's lifestyle.
Sure.
Fine. But if you have and are afforded an opportunity to accomplish all three of those, I think that's safe to say those are goals. And if you get one out of the three, sure. That's, even, that's
important. Just
as well. But so when you think about buying a home, it's huge emotionally.
Huge.
It's
Huge.
really something that is sometimes understated for the people that are helping facilitate it, like realtors. Realtors are a very unique group, very, very different skill set. I relate it to the hospitality industry, right?
Yep.
So when you have a wait server, a chef, someone that's going to, serve you, well, that's an extension. That's what a realtor does.
Yeah. And it's not just people tend to think, oh, they just sell a house. There's so much involved with it.
Yeah.
The phone calls, the messages, people don't understand there's home inspection and appraisal and bidding wars and emails that you have to respond back to. Responsiveness is also a huge thing.
Oh, huge.
I hear it all the time,
Huge.
how a lot of clients are unhappy with their agent because they don't respond back to them for 2 days. They send a text, they place a phone call. Responsiveness is huge. Johnny, as you know.
Yeah, that's game changing. You answer the phone.
Answer the phone.
First rule: answer your phone.
Pick up the phone.
That's it. If you do that,
Absolutely.
versus someone else who's saying they're doing the same thing you're doing, if you do it and they don't, well, you just increased your chances of being successful.
Sure, of course.
To build that relationship and ultimately.
It's very important.
Yeah,
very important.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I want to ask some questions about today's real estate market. But before we do that, let's take a quick commercial break.
Let's take a break.
And we're back. So I want to talk about now today's current market. We're about halfway through 2023. You've been through what I would assume a crazy time. For real estate. I know you and I were looking at houses about a year ago. How has things changed? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse?
I'm seeing it getting worse.
Really?
Yeah.
In what ways?
Just the demand. There's a low supply and high demand. Supply and demand. For instance, I had an open house this weekend, total of 5 hours, both on Saturday and Sunday. So 12 to 2, then 12 to 3 on Sunday. We had a total of 54 groups come in, close to 54 groups
Now,
of buyers.
What's average?
Average. Pre-COVID,
Yeah.
10.
Wow.
Yeah. 10 to 12.
And what's
The supply and demand. It's
5X.
There's no inventory.
But why?
I think the other interest rates have a large part to do with it. You know,
Yeah.
people that locked in at 3%, right, Johnny?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People that locked in at 3%, the interest rates are now 7%.
6.5.
So now if they sell, they're going to have to purchase again for a higher interest
So you're
rate,
saying
which
people are kind of
a lot of
locking in?
people don't want to do.
Right.
You know, and the majority of the homes that I am selling, people are moving down south or moving out of state.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
A large majority are moving down south. You know, Florida, Myrtle Beach,
Right.
All down south.
So when they're selling, they're
A
not
large
re-entering into
majority.
the local market.
Excuse me.
When they sell from here, they're not re-entering into the local market.
Some are. It depends on the age. So you know, if you have a family that's just starting off, and you know they're in a condo or a townhouse, they're looking to grab a single family. Those people are staying in Jersey.
Is it impacting the pricing yet?
Oh, absolutely.
It is.
Yeah.
Because I know
Very
when we
much so.
looked, it was pretty dramatic.
Remember that?
Yeah. Good times.
Yeah, good times. It was craziness, though. It's I'm not seeing it level off.
Really?
No, I'm not seeing any type of situation. I just had an offer put in a few weeks ago. I would say it was in Rockaway Township. We had we came in strong. We came in like 75,000 over asking price. Limiting inspections, home inspections, appraisal, waivers, whole 9 yards. We came in, I think, 5th or 6th out of 36 offers.
Oh my God.
36 offers. It's insane.
The competition is so intense that even when, because John and I have had these conversations, I have this conversation with other realtors as well, which is, all right, how was your weekend? Very busy, but it's like a hamster on a wheel.
Yeah, just spinning it.
you're
People
not
have the
going
misconception that, you know, I get this all the time. Oh, you must be killing it. Look, I'm doing well, right? But you're working 10 times harder because you're putting in offer after offer after offer. You know, Johnny's giving me the pre-approvals for, you know, the same client 5-6 times. You know, sometimes more. You know, it depends. And and that's just not. You're not just typing up an offer. You're showing the house. Oh. You're bringing in contractors. Mm-hmm. It's, you know, the mother wants to see the house. The father wants to see the house. There's a lot of time invested. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, you know, back in the, you know, before COVID, you know, you show them 2-3 homes, you know, there's maybe one other offer, 2 other offers, and then, you know, so use your negotiation skills and, you know, you get them the house. Now it's, Johnny, you're waiving home inspection completely. You're waiving appraisal. Crazy things are going on.
You're competing. So he has seen in a very short 3.5 years, 4 years, he's seen the hottest 2020 and one of the coldest 2023 markets in a very short period of time. And I'm doing this 32 years, going on 33, right?
You got a few years on me, Johnny.
A
few years on me, bud.
And while I've seen this, I haven't seen exactly this. So just to expand on what John's talking about, the market today in 5 times the amount of people going to an open house, 5 times what a normal open house.
Maybe even more, Johnny. Yeah.
Could be more. Depends on that house, the style, the price point. Right. Let's say it's 5 times as more. You know, pre-2020, which is not even a good example either, in a normal real estate market year, there's time to think. People could go show a house one time and then bring mom and dad back the second time and think about it and go see other houses because there's
no time anymore.
Now
highest and best.
Right.
Within 5-6 days on the market.
Right.
Jesus.
There's no inventory because what he alluded to is people who are in their home 2018, 19, 20
Yep.
that have something with a 3% handle or lower, 2 3/4, 3 1/4, today are looking at 6.5. That doubled in interest rate. That makes your payment on the same loan amount over $500 more.
Yep.
So if I sold my house today,
Monthly. Yeah.
So if I sold my house today and I had a $300,000 mortgage and it was $1,800, and I'm sorry, it was $1,200 now, and I'm going to go sell and go buy another one and take that same $300,000, it's now $500, $550 more.
Yeah.
Like, well, why am I doing it? People are going to say, well, why am I doing
You
it?
have no idea how many listed appointments I've been on, within the last 2-3 years. 2 years. I try to explain to them, hey, what's the interest rates if I'm buying? When I sell, I locked in at 2.75. Well, you're up there 6-7%.
Sheesh.
We're gonna stay.
Yep.
Yeah, we're gonna stay. But then you always try and advise them. You could refinance. Which is something that then I would obviously refer them to your father, John, to pick up the phone and have a conversation with them about.
Can you explain what that means when somebody says I want to refinance? Sure.
It's you're at 5-6%, and the interest rates drop to 2.75 through 3%. You remortgage the house. So if you were paying 5 years on it, you remortgage to a 30-year, refinance to a 30-year at a lower percentage.
So you can just keep doing that.
I think your father
You
could better explain.
A refinance is simply taking whatever's outstanding on your home as a balance of a mortgage and saying, I want to change the terms. I want to start over. So if I bought a house, real easy. If I bought a house in 2020 and the rate was 3%, and I bought another house 2023 at 7%, okay? Yes, there's a sting there. That's a higher interest rate.
Yep.
His point is, well, you're not going to necessarily stay with that 7% that you got in 2023 for 30 years. What we know this, what goes up comes down. It's fact.
Sure.
So, okay, they're at 7 now. Maybe they go to 7.5, but maybe they start leveling out. Maybe they start going to 6 3/4 again. And then maybe it dips below 6 in 2 or 3 or 5 years. Okay, fine. It's going to come down.
Yeah.
And then let's say, hypothetically, 5 years from today, the 7% today becomes 6 in 5 years. Well, that's a full percentage point difference. I'll take that. I'll take my mortgage, go to a bank, ask them for a new mortgage, and start over for 30 years, even though I paid 5 years into it. But I'll get a lower rate. And that lower rate might save you $225 a month.
But then you start all over with the terms.
You start all over.
So you could go back to a 30-year mortgage, but it's $500 cheaper a month.
Mm-hmm.
And does it pay? And it pays out at the end. You're still saving money.
Well,
it has to make it makes sense.
This is where again, as a mortgage professional, I would do the math on that, and I would say, all right, here's what your expense is to refinance.
Right, because if it's only dropped by 0.5% and you're adding an additional couple months,
it may not.
It has to make sense.
It may not be worth it.
It has to make, if it's 0.5 point, what's the the common rule? 1 point or more.
Well,
you refi.
You know what's so funny? When I started in the business, the rule was 2 percentage point swing.
2%.
And now it's like, no, it's not even a percentage point swing. It's what is more important to you right now. Yeah. And if it's more important to you right now to save $200, then save the $200.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the re-amortization of what it adds on at the end of 30 years. You may not own the home for 30 years.
Sure.
You may not live long enough in that house if you keep that house for 30 years. So this is truly a different mindset today on buying a home because of who your competition is and the other people you're trying to out negotiate.
Of course.
Those other people, to your point, will today say, I'll waive the appraisal. I don't care what the house comes in at, which is a very risky thing to do.
But you have to have proof of funds with that. You can't just waive an appraisal. You have to be prepared for it to
pay for it.
You have
to
not to appraise out. So you put your offer in for $600,000. the appraisal comes back at 500,000 and you waive appraisal, there's a $100,000 gap now.
Now, what's an appraisal?
It's a valuation of the property. So
An
the
opinion
bank-
of value.
the bank is your partner. The bank is going to tell you for their own validation that that $600,000 house may only be worth 500.
Sure.
Well, if we think as the bank it's worth 500, then guess what? You want to pay 600, you could pay 600. You just created a $100,000 margin that you're going to take risk on from your savings, and the bank's not taking any risk on that.
Why? It seems like it's a backwards process. Why wouldn't the bank tell me what I think the house is worth before going to this bidding war with this?
Good question. So sometimes in situations, I'll ask Johnny if he could run it through a program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can further explain that.
So let's keep it something simpler than this. You want to buy a car. You want to buy a car, right? He's selling a car. You want to buy it. I want to buy it. He's selling the car for $5,000. Where's he get the number from?
Mm-hmm.
Well, right. He doesn't know. You know where he goes? He goes maybe to Kelly Blue Book. He maybe talks to a friend.
Yep.
He talks to a friend who owns a car dealership. Who knows? He comes up with the number of $5,000. Now, you want to buy that car. I want to buy that car. You need money from a bank. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So you go put an offer in on that car, knowing you have to get the money from the bank. The bank, before they're going to give you their money, is going to say, well, hold on, what am I buying? Because we're partners now. The bank and you are partners. I come in and I don't have to worry about anybody.
Yeah.
It's $5,000. I'll give you $4,500 cash.
Yeah.
He's going to consider
Cash.
my offer a heck of a lot faster, stronger, and probably take it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Versus waiting for you. So you asked the question, well, why wouldn't the bank make the assessment of value? First of all, there's not enough resources to do that. That's not realistic. And you'd have to pay for the bank to send an appraiser out there.
That's why, and that's why, depending on what the other offers are, if the seller receives a cash offer,
Right.
if you pay cash, you're not getting an appraisal. You don't need to get an appraisal done because you're paying cash.
Yeah.
There's no loan. There's no mortgage.
Understood.
The banks aren't involved. Here's $500,000 in cash, or, you could take a chance and accept an offer, but then you have to get appraisal done unless that person is waiving full appraisal.
Yep.
Or, look, I've seen they could waive a certain amount, 10,000, 20,000.
Right. You put a variable in there that says you're protecting yourself if it's
But
too
the
much.
problem is as your father can explain to you, appraisers have so much discretion. I've seen in my my short time in real estate, in 3-4 years, that an appraiser can come in and undervalue the home. The deal falls through because that person doesn't want to come up with extra cash. The buyer doesn't want to come up with the extra cash. They can't negotiate. So then we accept another offer. A new appraiser comes in and appraises it for $50,000, $100,000 over what the last appraiser did.
Well, right, because like you said, the appraisal
A lot of discretion.
is a lot of discretion. Value.
It's an opinion of value.
Right.
Exactly.
But it's also based on what's available, in all fairness. It is opinion. It is discretionary.
Yeah.
But it's based on fact. It's based on sales and
Comps.
closed transactions. So what might happen is one appraiser comes in today and has listings and closed loans transactions that have hit the market today. And the next one comes in 2-3 weeks from now.
Sure.
And there's a new one that closed.
Sure.
That wasn't available
Comps.
for this person.
Comparables.
So those are comparables, right?
Comparables.
So
Very
there's
important.
a lot of moving parts to this in this market, especially when it's this fast. I have another realtor down in South Jersey, down the shore, and he's closed, I don't know, probably 14 or 15 transactions year to date as we talk today, the end of April, 4 months closed. 4 months closed, probably about 15 transactions. And I said to him,
It's a busy agent.
he's busy.
Yeah.
But I said to him, out of those 15 transactions, how many of them had mortgage financing?
What did he say? How many?
0.
0.
Out of
Out of 15, it was all cash.
0.
Wow.
Now,
What's
different
the price
market,
point over there, though?
It's a beach community, second home
Oh,
community.
so it's up there.
It's high end. It's million and a half, 2 million, 3 million.
Yeah.
Okay. But tax exchange, people
1031.
selling 1031 tax exchange and putting that into a new one.
Rolling the money over.
Or high-end net worth people that they are not really writing a check
Sure.
for $3-4 million. Don't be fooled by that, because the savvy person knows, well, wait a second. Why would I borrow money at 6.5% when I can take it off of my assets here and margin it and keep my assets in place and borrow it at high end,
of course,
private banking for 5%?
Yeah.
I'll take
Makes
it off of
sense.
here and then I'll still be for the better. So there's a lot of savvy people out there. That's a different market, different price point. But the point is, not one mortgage, not one conventional. Call the mortgage guy, go to your banker, and get a mortgage.
Yeah, but I would assume, regardless of the times, that's probably more often than not.
It's not more often than not, because this is the first time, John, that the rates have gone up as fast as they've gone, and the deposits are as low as they are, right? So you can get a treasury bill, a municipal bond today at 5%. Well, hold on. Well, why would I use my cash? I'll just put it away safe.
Borrowing money.
Yeah. You're right. So you'll figure out ways to margin those people with the opportunity to have net worth, to have money in this kind of example, that their rules of engagement are a little different. In our market up here in northern New Jersey, where it's a $600,000, $700,000
different price point. Yeah.
And there's this, it's still just as flooded in these other markets, still same situation, no inventory, but the clientele is a little different. There are those people, though. If you said to me, so year to date, you've sold how many homes?
12.
12. So out of those 12 transactions, do you know, I'll have it easier. Out of those 12, how many didn't have financing? Do you recall any of them?
Wait, in 4 months you sold 12 houses?
About 12, I think.
Okay.
Wow. 11 or 12.
So out of those 12
transactions,
every one of them had a mortgage. Or do you think, was there anyone?
No, I think all of them were mortgages.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
See?
That's crazy.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Different markets, different set of price points.
Yep. Yeah. It's where is it? Down in Monmouth or Ocean?
Ocean County.
Yeah. It's a different market.
Yeah.
Totally different.
So I'm in Hudson County right now. How's the market around here?
You know, I would definitely still say it's very in demand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very in demand.
There's just not enough homes to sell.
The whole area, this whole part of North Jersey, and pretty much, I believe it's the whole country that there's just a major shortage. I talk to people who are buying in, Myrtle Beach. Mm. I have one client who's purchasing in South Dakota.
Wow.
High demand.
Really?
High demand. Yes.
So I was going to ask that question too. What do you?
Demand.
Do you know what the hottest markets are right now in America?
I would definitely no. I really don't. I just know that North Jersey and Jersey is still on fire.
It's cold.
Still on fire. Oh. Well, it's a hot market. Yeah. Hot market.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you say hot market, you mean a lot of people looking
bidding
to buy.
wars. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Multiple offer situations.
So a good market to be selling in is the point. Not a good market to be buying in.
Look, it all depends. If you're going to be staying there for a long time, if you're going to buy in this market and you're going to move in 2 years, that's something to really consider. Mm-hmm. Can you possibly keep it in rent and try and cover the mortgage if the market dips in a few years?
Right.
It's another story. Johnny, what do you think about, do you think we're going to be seeing a lot of short sales and foreclosures?
You're going to see, you're going to see a lot of shakeout. You're going to definitely see, as the economy becomes further sluggish, right? Sluggish. You're going to see people having to do desperate things. And first is not pay their mortgages again, and that's going to stimulate another market that I've already been through, which is foreclosures.
And that was in what, 2007?
Yep. Yeah. Well, that was
2007.
That was
the mortgage crisis.
Right. Yep. So but we won't have a bubble like we did then. That's not fair to say.
Sure.
But because, again, different things were fueling that market. But it's the inevitable. It's a matter of time. You could look at any market today, let's just say in New Jersey, and a house that was listed a year ago
Yep.
that is still on the market is not at the same price point. It's lower
Yep.
by a couple 100,000 maybe, but it's still not sold yet either because one thing or another is contributing to it's probably still too high of a price point.
Of course.
Right?
I tell all my clients, for listings, the worst thing you could do in the market like this is overprice your home.
Why?
Because you want as many people to come in as possible. Why overprice a home and take out that portion of buyers who weren't in that, look, if you price it at 350 and, buyers aren't qualified for 375, right? You want to price it where as many people come to the home to see the house, right? So the price point dictates the flow of traffic
This
for
is
the open house, for showings, etc.
So you brought up something that you said buyers aren't qualified for 375 mortgage.
A pre-approval. So when you start the buying process, I learned quick in the industry, right? I waste a lot of time, and one of my rules is time. I don't like to waste time. I'm too busy to waste time with people who aren't qualified. And it's not, necessarily their fault. Some people just don't know. The first thing you do is you obtain a pre-approval. So somebody calls me, and I get these calls all the time. John, I'm looking to purchase home. First question. Have you pre-approved? Why? Because you don't want to go and show them homes that they're not approved for. So you're going to waste time. You show them 3-4 houses and they're just not approved for it. And then you find out later during the transaction when they call John and say, oh,
yeah,
John,
so let's,
John, they're only pre-approved for 300, you're showing them homes for 400, 500,000.
Right.
I just wasted, 2 days.
Let's quantify that just a little bit so that anyone who's listening picked up on it. He doesn't want to work with somebody that's not pre-qualified. That doesn't mean that they're not in a position to buy a home.
True.
That means that they haven't taken a step to commit to this process.
Yes.
Right? Which is talk to a mortgage company, a bank, someone that he knows or a realtor would know to say they're good. It's not a breach of confidentiality. The conversations that I have with people are private, and then they are not detailed with my realtor referrals. They're just, he's good, she's good, or they got some things to work on. It's kind of like the seltzer review. Thumbs up, maybe not for everybody, or no. It's really that simple.
No.
And so the realtors will be better serving you when you have taken that step, because it shows your willingness.
Sure.
And it shows for you, this is the person you want to talk to.
So sometimes you receive a call, or, I'll receive a call from someone who I don't know, right? And of course you ask, are you pre-approved? No, we're not. You could tell right away, Johnny, right? Who's serious about buying a house. You will know if that person wants to purchase a home or not, because we'll hang up the phone. I'll send them his contact information. He'll call me back within 15 minutes. So-and-so just called. They want to buy a house.
And if not, they're not.
If it's somebody who's just trying to, look, or, which is fine too, but they won't call them.
No, you need to establish a place from which to start, and that includes your willingness to share information. It is a personal thing. It is a private step that you need to take. But if you're not willing to commit and show and demonstrate, in this example, a realtor, that you're ready, like they are ready to show you on weekends and weekdays and late nights.
It's a commitment.
Well,
it's a strong commitment.
It's an alignment with somebody. Find the person you like that you can count on and you can work with, but vice versa, be ready to give them what they're going to need as well.
Yeah.
If you had somebody come up to you right now today and said they want to become a real estate agent, do you recommend yes or no in this market, in this area? What would you say?
Sure. No, I would never tell anyone not to. I think it's a great license to have. I would just advise them of the truth. The truth is it's one of the most difficult markets that we're going to see. There's going to be a lot of time spent. And look, if you're able to obtain a buyer that has full cash and is willing to listen to you and take your advice, that's fine. But you just have to really understand that in the long run, it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah.
It's going to be a challenge.
I want to expand upon some of this too, because, again, you're giving advice to someone that might want to become a realtor and that is attracted to real estate sales for one reason or another, and the fact that they can make money. Okay, cool, great. But let's talk about the level of commitment, the depths that you have to go. We talked and touched on some of the things, which is you got to be ready to make an investment in yourself and spend money. You got to be patient. You got to have alignment with certain people, and hopefully a mentor or a group of people that can help fast track you. All right, got that. The other part that I want you to share is, you're very involved in the community. And being involved in a community means you give back to your community. I want you to, two things. One, I want you to talk about one of the groups that you're really deeply vested in and connected with. And two, secondly, the fact that you're accountable to everything. And I'm going to help you with the second one, which is, you're a 5-star Zillow rated realtor. You're perfect 5 stars. That's not easy to be 5 stars for anything.
Yeah.
Okay. So you accomplished that, right? Which is, again, answering to the masses of people that evaluate you. And to the community end, now you've got to make some decisions. So where do you find that alignment? Where do you give back to your community?
So with the community, I'm a retired police officer, right? I love helping out police officers, purchase, police officers, firemen, et cetera. So I have a great pleasure with helping them out.
Right.
It means a lot.
Yep. And that matters.
Yeah. Oh, no, it definitely does.
And that's a group of people that you can automatically.
It's a niche market,
yeah, exactly.
too. It's not just, I can relate to their personality and, it means a lot.
And I'm sure they'd rather work with you than the regular.
Yeah, of course. And, the great thing about it is Johnny, your father has a PBA rate. Right, John? You want to expand on that a little bit for police officers and firemen?
That's specific for that group that participates in the pension in New Jersey, the PBA loan. And it's
police and firemen's pension.
Considerably lower. It's half of what a regular.
What's the rates now, John?
I think it's 3.7, right?
3.75, I thought.
3.75.
It's close.
I have, but one other thing I want to just expand upon is not only do you have your alignment with that group of people, but you give back, you donate back too, right? So you give up.
Some of my very best friends are still police officers, and I have family. My cousin Chris is a police officer in Hanover Township in Jersey.
So what do you do though? What do you do? Don't you give back from each transaction you close?
Yeah, there was a time. So previously with my other, it's called a rebate. There's a rebate you can do. At the end of the transaction to give back a certain percentage of your sale, of your commission back to
you help out every little way you can and show your support to that community.
It's called the buyer's rebate.
Buyer's rebate.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was good. I feel like I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I hope if we did nothing else, we brought to light the profession of real estate, and that it is for a lot of people, but it's not for everyone.
Look, if you're thinking about getting your license, pursue it, take the course, take the exam, align yourself with great people, and you'll do great. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Right.
This is a long-term investment. It's going to cost you some money. But at the end of the day, it's very lucrative.
Yeah.
And it's a great business.
Let's strap up.
It's a great business.
What else? You want to ask him a couple questions and then wrap it up?
I think we're good.
Wrap it up with a couple questions. Don't you want to wrap it up with?
Is there anything left in there? What's going on?
The same 2 questions you ask everybody?
Oh, did you want to talk about the other broker?
No.
Course? What's
Don't you want to ask the same 2 questions you ask every guest?
All right.
Sure. At the end of the podcast?
Yeah, all right.
There you go.
Okay. Thanks.
Ask it. Fire away.
Do I need another drink for these questions? Or what's the story?
No. We ask every guest 2 questions. Number 1, what would be consider your most accomplished moment in life? And follow that up with your most humbling moment in life.
accomplishment in life. So
You can start with either or.
yeah. So in this industry, are you
Life.
Just life.
referring to?
Life,
Yeah.
Life in
heavy
general.
stuff right here.
Yeah.
You're in a safe zone right now.
Heavy stuff.
Talk about anything you want.
Oh, is this where you texted me?
This is where you're
we
gonna
usually
cry.
get people.
Yeah, you're gonna cry.
My most satisfying was probably graduating the police academy.
Okay.
Graduated the police academy in 2002. Was a very great experience, a big accomplishment. And then also follow that up with, I just got my broker's license, and I just passed the state exam in February. So that was,
Congratulations.
thank you, Johnny. That was a big commitment upon me being so busy with work in general. I was it's a 150-hour course, pre-course you have to take. Wednesday, I did it Monday and Wednesday nights from 6 p.m. till 10:15 p.m.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was a big commitment. And then you have to pass the course test, and then you have to take the state exam for the broker license. That was a big accomplishment for me as well.
Nice. And
So-
what about your most humbling moment in life?
That's a tough one.
Okay, you
I
can
don't know,
cry.
Johnny.
Big guys cry too.
Cut. No, I really have to give that some consideration.
Oh, just
and
text
thought.
us later.
Okay. All right.
We'll dub it in. We'll
Yeah,
B-roll it.
Yeah, that's all right.
Deal.
All right,
We'll
guys.
B-roll it in.
Well, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share. What else?
Peace out.